regarding infrastructure development. How much has the economy moved in the state? And what exactly are the reforms being introduced across sectors by the APC-led government in Edo State? Those are the conversations we're having this morning on the program. And I'm joined by somebody who had been a commissioner in the government of former Governor Godwin Obaseki to help us find sense, perspective, and context in this conversation. Honorable Ogbede Ifaluyi-Isibor, it's a pleasure to have you in the program.
Thank you so much. Good morning, sir.
Great. So you and I talked not very long ago about developments in Edo State, but things have escalated real quick in that state now. There are those who say your party, the PDP, is a toothless bulldog as far as the opposition is concerned. What's your sentiment?
Well, I would like to talk about my party, the PDP, later, because I'm not also impressed with what we have done in the last 2 years, 2.5, right, since the ascension of President Tinubu. I don't even think we're a dog right now, let alone being a toothless bulldog, because we have not been able to stand up for the Nigerian people, to speak up for the Nigerian people, and to hold the failed APC administration to account. And that is a failure on our part, and we must take criticism for it. However, I think we're rebuilding, we're re-energizing, we're re-strategizing.
At the state or national level?
No, at the national level.
Okay.
No, at the state level, the PDP in Edo State is fantastic. I mean, what we've done, it can't be compared to what any opposition has done anywhere in Nigeria. So we use the PDP in Edo State as an example for other states to borrow. But our major worry, my major worry, and the worry of most of Nigerians is the PDP at the national level and how they've not been able to rise to the occasion. But we're regrouping, like I said, and we're hoping that with the little back and forth we're having, leading up to our convention, is not able to deter us. The PDP is still going to go ahead with our national convention in Ibadan. And we're sure that we'll be able to bring up new leaders that will be able to pilot the affairs of the party so that we can be that viable option that the Nigerian people have for a viable democracy.
Edo State government marks 1 year today, and we understand there's a line of activities to mark all of that. Beyond the Jamboree and the Razzmatazz, what exactly will the Edo man be celebrating? I know I'm giving you a field day already because you're in the opposition, but can we look at the Okpewolo government and say in the last 12 months the government has not done anything commendable?
Okay, thank you. I'm going to be addressing that question on two fronts. First of all, as a Benin man, and that is what is most important, because I'm a Benin man first before I'm a politician from Edo State. And the general perception of the Edo man today, you talk about 1 year anniversary, but on the streets they call it 365 wasted days, because the last 365 days has been focused on Godwin Obaseki and the destruction of all that he built. We are saying that, yes, as an opposition party that the APC is, you can hate Godwin Obaseki as a person, but you don't have to hate the development that he brought, and to that extent, destroy whatever he has built, because he didn't build them with his own personal resources. He built them with taxpayers' monies. And so if it's to the benefit of the average Edo taxpayer, destroying it just because of your animosity against him, it shows lack of leadership, it shows lack of reasoning, and it shows very poor hygiene in our politics. We're looking forward to the day where a new administration, regardless of the political party, can build upon what the previous administration laid. That is how development is built across the world. Sadly, what we're saying is a sustained and a continued attack, and not just what Godwin Obaseki built, but the foreign investment and local investment he attracted to Edo State. They're going after the Museum for West African Arts that is built to provide 25,000 jobs for Edo people. They're going after the Radisson Hotel, a 160-room hotel that is going to employ Edo people, prosper the economy, improve the lots of the people, and also improve the GDP of the state. They're going after Oshoma Power, an indigenous power production company in Edo State, owned by a Benin man, solving electricity problems for the Edo people. They're going after the Salabasanjo Hospital that is to provide healthcare needs, secondary and tertiary, for the Edo people. They're going after the legacies of Godwin Obaseki for the last 1 year. We cannot point out one thing, that this government has commissioned, because there are low-hanging fruits in government. 1 year is enough to have said, okay, this is my plan or the policy for 4 years, but this is what we've done in 1 year, and these are the results to show that we've done this in 1 year. But Edo State government has received over 200 billion naira from the federal allocation and from IGR, but we cannot point to any measurable benefit that has accrued to the Edo people. If you ask the average APC man, he tells you, oh, we're building a flyover at Ramat Park, we're building another flyover at Supply Road. Those are the two things that the government has spent 1 year doing, but the bulk of it, you were either making mockery of the Edo people, making merchandise of governance, campaigning for the president for 2027, as though that is the whole purpose of the government. But indeed, that is the purpose of the government, because the moment Perulu was sworn into office, his focus has always been about Aswadi 2027. In their books, there's no 2026. They want to jump from 2025 to re-elect the president and give him 2.5 million votes that do not exist. This, you see, the mind of a man is the standard of the man. We cannot expect Governor Perulu, with due respect to him, to function beyond the capacity of his mind. That's why you will see the governor, when the number of those who have collected PVCs in Edo State is just about 2 million of everybody, talking about 3.5 million votes to the president. That's why you can see a man who is going to fire commissioners who do not wear their Sibaju cap to come for ESCO. How are we a cursed people? Why have we reduced governance to the gutters, where it is now about the cap that you wear to ESCO, not the quality of the thoughts that you have or the contribution that you are going to bring? We have reduced governance to the lowest level in African history, and it is sad that this is coming from the Benin Kingdom. This is coming from Edo State, where we had the Godwin Obaseki, where we had quintessential individuals as commissioners in his administration. We were the cynosure of all eyes in Edo State. But sadly, when you talk about Edo State today, people are laughing at you, people are mocking you, calling your governor a content creator.
Interesting. I want to talk about the Museum of West African Art called MOA. I don't think in the last 1 year of the Okpebolo government there has been any more controversial issue than this one, right? So on Sunday was an embarrassing situation we had in Edo State. We've seen the Benin monarch come out to speak to some of these issues. And he also indicted the former governor, your former principal, Obaseki, talking about how that there had been alterations at some point to some certain documents that had been presented to him and things like that. And then we also have issues around how that the former governor had to bring his business ally from a personal standpoint as against the overall interest of Edo people and things like that. Help our viewers understand what exactly the issues are.
I think it's just a lack of hygiene in our politics. And I want to consecrate the throne in this matter. The Oba of Benin is not hateful of anybody.
Right.
The Oba of Benin doesn't have an axe to grind. That is our king. We are his subjects, and we are subject and submissive to his rulership. So it is not a case of a contention with the palace. It is a case of the APC government versus the PDP government wanting to tear down whatever the PDP government built. And let me clear the misconceptions. There has been a lot of wrong information, misinformation, deliberate disinformation that has been peddled for so long and has permeated the hearts of the Benin people. The Museum for West African Arts has no connection with the return of the Benin artifacts.
Oh, they are two distinct issues.
They are two exclusive events, if you allow me to use that. The Benin, the artifacts that were returned by the French in 2011, the ones that were returned by the Germans in 2022, and the ones that we just received in June of 2025 from Netherlands were all handed over to the Oba of Benin. It was gazetted by President Buhari. So he has custody, as the custodian of the Benin culture and heritage. Right. He has custody of all those artifacts. I hear now that they are domiciled in the Benin Museum. I hear they're having some kind of exhibition over it. But that is a totally different idea with what MOA is doing. MOA is a museum for West African arts. They are hosting contemporary arts from artists across West Africa. We had folks from Ghana, from Togo, from Senegal, and from Nigeria, of course, showcasing their artwork on Sunday when those hooligans, those derelicts, those mental hobos invaded the place to terrorize international visitors. How can it be that we had 4 ambassadors who were locked up in that place alongside high-class diplomats and creative lovers from across the country, from across the world, who had come to Benin, the cradle of African civilization, to enjoy beautiful arts. But they've left now with the impression that the Benin people are hostile people, that the Benin people are terrorists, because that was the impression that we gave them. Because how could you have invaded private property, chanting all kinds of songs, wielding weapons? These are the poorly informed and poorly educated ones amongst us. That is why Okpebholo must step up his leadership, because you must educate the people. But again, we have to also ask ourselves, what level of exposure has he got that he can transmit or transmogrify, if you ask me, to those people. So the issues are clear. MOA is a museum for West African arts, and it has nothing to do with the Benin Royal Museum. As a Benin man, I hold the view, just like the Oba has espoused, we should have the Benin Royal Museum that should be built to house the returned artifacts. Let us also celebrate all that we have, all that was stolen from us. And the notion or the narration that monies were given when the artifacts were returned is not true. All over the world where there has ever been a return of artifacts, there has never been a case where there was a financial transaction or a compensation or a financial dealing with whoever was receiving those artifacts, because it was seen as it was framed as restitution, in recognition of historical misdeeds that happened in the past. So it was a transfer of ownership from the German government to the Nigerian government, from the Dutch to the Nigerian government, from the French to the Nigerian government. There was no financial compensation whatsoever. It has never happened before. So when people or these APC folks tell the Edo people that the artifacts were returned to the Oba of Benin, but the monies that should go with it were given to Godwin Obaseki, it makes mockery of their education and their exposure.
Interesting, but there's still a lot of issue around the MOA. We understand there had been some sort of bad blood between the palace and your former principal long before the Okpebholo governments came on stream. Are those issues still not playing out today?
Okay, I don't think there was bad blood between the Oba of Benin and his subject, Godwin Obaseki. Godwin Obaseki is a Benin man, and he cannot have bad blood with the king. So what I think was the case was maybe some level of poor communication of what the issues really were. The Oba had his view of what he wanted, and we strongly hold that view, that all that he wanted should be done the way he wanted it, so long as it benefits the entirety of the Edo people. And the view of the governor at the time was that let us have both structures side by side, so that they can complement each other. And the Oba's daughter has said earlier this year that the Oba Akenzo Cultural Complex was going to be converted to the Benin Royal Museum. This was almost 7 months after MOA had been pre-commissioned. So they're two very different issues. And as a people, we want to see that conversion done so that we can have those artifacts housed there. It was not really a case of bad blood. We want to, as much as possible, let the people really know the truth, that it was just poor communication between government at the time and the royalty, and all those issues should be resolved, because at the end of the day, if MOA dies, the Edo people suffer for it.
Okay, finally on that matter now, we understand the state governor has revoked the CFO of that entity, and then of course a committee has been set up led by former Governor Adams Oshiomhole, who used to be your principal's friend. Some people say his political benefactor. What are the implications of these developments? Okay,
first of all, Adams Oshiomhole has no business being in a committee that should oversee or to investigate MOA, because when the Supreme Court gave her final judgment, Adams Oshiomhole, we saw it on video, telling the governor to make sure he revokes MOA. There was no fact-finding at the time. It was just poor politics, petty politics, primitive partisanship. And I don't think, with due respect to him, Adams Oshiomhole should have anything to do with that. In any case, if you have set up a committee to investigate something, you wrote a letter to the House of Assembly to investigate it, why then go ahead to revoke the CFO of the MOA? Is it that you don't have any faith or confidence in the House of Assembly, or you don't think those who you are members of the committee that you set up have a developed mind enough to advise you, that you went ahead to preempt their judgment or their reports to revoke the seal of Mowa? I think this borders really on the capacity to lead and the capacity to have an open mind to understand that development is not about self, but about the people. I think that we should ascend above this primitive, mundane politics of dragging Edo State to the mud, and we should focus more on development, because at the end of the day, it should be about the Edo people.
Okay, so let's talk about opposition. Opposition is believed and expected to hold governments accountable. I mean, you put government on its toes, which we understand your party is trying to do, particularly in Edo State at this point in time. But then there's a challenge. We're seeing members of the House of Assembly, including the Speaker, Blessing Agbebako, exit the PDP for the APC. We're seeing people like Chief Osi Dan Obi, the former South-South leader of your party, also leave the party. Danobi had become an iconic political leader or the whole time Shomole was governor because he was leading the PDP, and they say no leader ever led the PDP like him as far as Edo State is concerned at the level of chairmanship. This has further deepened the crisis within your party, hasn't it?
Well, I think what it has done is not to deepen the crisis, because there's no crisis in the Edo PDP. It has only weakened our numerical strength, and we must submit ourselves to that fact. That politics is about numbers, and when you have members of your party who were elected on the platform of your party, leave your party to join another party, first of all, it tells you about the content of their character. It also tells you about their ability to substantiate a claim of the mandate that was given to them by the people. If the people voted for you under the platform of the PDP, and you then took the money to the APC, you have made mockery of the people. But let's leave that on that side. The PDP in Edo State, we have had a fair share of glitches. I call them glitches because they're not a catastrophe. We are still very solid in Edo State, even as we've lost members of our party, and we still have members of the PDP who are still causing internal crisis, who have refused to leave. These ones have obviously joined the APC. They have appointments in the APC, but they still want to be called members of the PDP.
They still can't carry members of your party.
Well, that's how they pose themselves to be, because my very big brother, Chief Danobi, I hold him in very high esteem. He was a fantastic chairman, but he's the chairman of the governing council of the Ambusali University, an appointment given to him by Governor Perola of the APC. He's also the chairman of the governing council of another college of education in Eastern Nigeria, an appointment given to him by President Tinubu in the APC. So you cannot be enjoying appointments by the APC and still profess to be a leader of the PDP when even the National Working Committee of the PDP had expelled him from the party last year. So with due respect to him, he is not a member of the PDP. We think that he should be bold enough to declare his APC-ship. I know he's not willing to, because the APC is a party of, as the APC Edo State chairman said, not my words, he said that the APC is a party of zombies, that they have no sense and they have no break. Those were his words. You could fact check that. So I'm sure that people like Chief Danobi do not want to be seen as a zombie, so he doesn't want to openly join the APC. That is why he's still trying to clutch on straws and remain in the PDP. But the fact is clear that the PDP is waxing stronger in Edo State. I mean, we are at the top of our game in Edo State. Anybody will tell you that, anybody who is a political observer in Edo State, that the APC is dead, that the APC is on the ground. That is why the APC chairman is either calling members of the party zombies, or the governor is either not able to arrange his thoughts, can't call his budget figures, can't accentuate his thoughts, cannot lead the people, cannot lead the party. They're having crisis with the Shomole, they're having crisis with, I mean, the APC came to kill, steal, and destroy. And that's what the other people are saying. And I can tell you, you can monitor what they're doing now when they're talking about the 1 year in office. There's nothing to show. All the projects are going about, so they were going about to repaint the roads we did. They're going about to repaint the schools we did, to fence the hospitals we built, and calling that a 1 year of achievement. So the other people, it's been 365 wasted days, and that is what it is.
There's a practice we have seen in this part of the world where even if you lose election, let's say you are a gubernatorial candidate, you stay back and you continue to provide leadership for your party. We're seeing even immediate past governors do that. We're seeing candidates who lose election do that. However, with your party, it appears there's a flip to that. For virtually 1 year, the former governor Obaseki has not been on this soil, for example. One would have thought he's leading from the front, especially at this crucial time of your party in the States. We understand Dr. Asuo Ighodalo has played that role as much as he can, coming from the corporate background and things like that. Does that not set your party at a very critical disadvantage?
Not at all, because Governor Godwin Obaseki is a member of the party, right? And he came, he served, he did his best. He has moved on to other things in life. He is not a professional politician who haven't served as governor. You want to go to the Senate. You want to be in charge of the party. You want to rule the party. You want to oppress the party. That is a traditional politician whose only existence is about politics. But Godwin Obaseki has moved on to better things. Yesterday, he was at Oxford University teaching or giving a lecture, and talking about the Edo Best, his Edo Best program, and how he prospered education in Edo State. That's what you expect from 21st century leaders, that after serving and have served well, you leave the political space for a bit to go improve yourself and tell the world what you did. That's what he's doing. And he is very involved in all that we're doing in the States and in the country. Yes, he may not be around at the moment, but he's still very much involved, just like Mr. Asuo Ighodalo. And those two individuals who are, although leaders of the party, but they are not the nucleus of the party. They are not the brain or the heart of the party. The heart of the party is the members of the party scattered across Edo State who are still very involved in party politics, who are still the ones mobilizing people for voter registration, who are still the ones going from door to door like Jehovah's Witness, winning souls to join the PDP. That's what and that is what politics is really about. It's about the grassroots. And so we are not destabilized at the grassroots. Let no one deceive you. Yes, we have had a few people who were elected by the same people leave, but those who elected them, those who have the power as per the constitution, still remain in the PDP and we're still very strong. And we've told the Okorola administration that you're going to be a one-term administration. There's no doubt about it. He has done 1 year. He has 3 more years to go. Let us hope that the man will be able to put himself together in the next 3 years to at least do something that he will be remembered for. Because for today, all that we remember him for is an attempt to destroy what Godwin Obaseki built. And the truth is this, he would never be the man Godwin Obaseki is. Godwin Obaseki was a quintessential leader who took leadership and governance to the highest level no Nigerian governor has ever taken it to. Edo State was the very first state and the only state in West Africa to go completely paperless. All government correspondence were done without paper. We're the first to do it. Sadly, they've gone back to paper. They've gone back to hiding files and stealing money with pens. Edo State was the very first state, still today, to have built 3,000 kilometers of fiber optic cables connecting all local government councils in the state. Today, they have paused all that development, they have destroyed it. Edo State was the only state that had offered free internet access to over 60 access points across the state. Today, it has been destroyed. Nobody talks about that again. Edo State was the only state. In the space of 6 years, we had 2 modular refineries, 2 petrochemical plants, 2 ethanol plants, and 2 power generation plants. The only state in Nigeria to have achieved that in 6 years. Unprecedented, unexampled, unparalleled, all done because of the ingenuity of Godwin Obaseki. People think he came before his time. He was not the kind of governor that Nigerians could understand because his thoughts were far above the average Nigerian thinking. How could you imagine that even when we were in government as ESCO, I didn't have to go to the governor's office to have ESCO meetings. We could all do it on our phones in our offices. The governor sent you a mail or a memo, it drops in real time, and you have 48 hours to respond to it, or else you're queried. There was efficiency and effectiveness in the civil service. Edo State was the first state where all the civil servants were digital because nobody was holding files any longer. Everybody had to log into the ERP when they came to work, and all memos and mails are done on the ERP. It's unprecedented in West Africa and even in Africa. That was done by Godwin Obaseki. So from us to have moved from a Godwin Obaseki to a Monday Okerolo, who was unable, his very first budget, that's to tell you that the man did not even go through the budget figures he was going to submit to the House of Assembly. He couldn't. From that step to another, we've seen a complete mockery of governance. You're either threatening Peter Obi, he can't come to Edo State. You're either making, unreasonable comments, or we're seeing hooligans, men who should be productive, running around with you, screaming, oh, the son of Jesus Christ, the son of Asivaju, the apostle of... We are not a defeated people. Edo State is not cursed. However, it appears to be so because of the poor leadership we have in Benin today, or in Edo today. And I tell you the reason. It's not because I have any personal grievance or animosity against the governor. That is the level, that is the capacity of his mind. The man feels that if I don't have people running after me and chanting my name, I will not have that self-worth as a governor. So for him, it's about building his esteem. That if he doesn't have those people, men who should be productive, running around him and praising him, he won't feel like he's a governor. And you can't blame him, because if you take a look at his antecedents, you can't really pinpoint one or two things that he has done as a person. You can't really say, okay, this is where he went to school, these are courses he has done, how he has improved himself. He was a child of chance. He was a child of luck. And we have seen how luck has brought underdevelopment and mediocrity to governance in Edo State.
All right, let's take a quick break now, everyone. When we return, we'll just notch things up a little and look at the national level of the PDP. What exactly is happening? Quite a number of court orders have come out the last few days, the latest one being barely 24 hours ago, courtesy of former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido. What exactly is the PDP that ruled this country for 16 straight years confronted by at this point in time? We'll talk to you about that and more after this break. Do stay with us. National level now, the PDP. I spoke with a very high up member of your party on live television here a few months ago, and I asked him pointedly, is there any chance the PDP would join this coalition or merge with any party going into 2027? And he said no, that the PDP would rather collaborate, and he also explained. However, as it stands right now, is the PDP reinventing itself, or is it hanging to past glory?
That's an excellent question, and I'm trying to provide answers that will not betray my emotions. I ordinarily expect a whole lot better from a party that was in government for 16 years. We expect, as members of the party, a lot better leadership of our party at the national level. We are offended and totally disgruntled by the back and forth that we see to be happening. It's either the national chairman is having an issue with the secretary, or the legal advisor is having an issue with the organizing secretary, but rather having court orders flying all over the place, and it only shows lack of clear leadership. But we still have solid leaders who are still in the party, who are still trying to revive the party. That's why, in my opinion, the National Convention is a big deal for us. We must be able to elect new thinkers, smart thinkers, today's men, not yesterday's men. We must be able to bring in today's men into our politics, and we have to collaborate. The opposition parties in Nigeria today are struggling to survive. We cannot go into the 2027 election the way we are today. We will have to synergize. We will have to collaborate. I don't know if it's going to be a merger, but we would have to, so that we can all be pulling in one direction. Because the APC wants a one-party state. The government has failed woefully to address the issues that bother the Nigerian people. They are choking the Nigerian people. They have their knees on our throats. And the PDP and the other opposition parties ought to be the ones pulling the APC up the throats of Nigerians. But we are weakened. We are weakened because not just in our numbers, but in our leadership. We must be able to sit down and reorganize ourselves on the national scale to see how we can salvage Nigeria from these terrorists who have come in through the back door to destroy the lives of the people. Terrorists in the sense that when there's so much terror going on across the country, there's high-level insecurity, unprecedented. if you're going to travel by road today, you must have written your will before you embark on that journey. Or you should tell your family and friends how to raise money to come give to terrorists, so they could release you. It's so bad. It has never been this bad. And I can tell you, it is underreported. We're having several states in northern Nigeria that almost half of the states is being run by terrorist groups. That is the reality we're seeing today. And this is a testimony of those who are in those environments. So the APC has failed. There's no doubt about it. There's no sector of the economy that we can say is thriving or is bubbling or that is making Nigerians happy. The gross happiness index of the Nigerian people is at its lowest today. So it is easy. Is it easy to topple, not to topple, yes, but to topple democratically the APC government? It should be easy, to get votes from the Nigerian people to drive away these marauders in the APC who have come to destroy the nation. It should be easy ordinarily if we had our acts together. And that is why it is painful to the average Nigerian, because we're looking up to the Labour Party, to the ADC, to the PDP to come salvage this situation. And there's a sense in which we have to come together to make sure that Nigerians, we cannot afford 4 more years of President Bola Tinubu. It will be the end of Nigeria. He's not only trying to have a one-party state, he's also building strong men and not institutions. Any society that is focused on building strong men is a defeated society. Yesterday we saw a video of one of the strong men that is being built, harassing a military officer. And one could wonder, is this a country? Is this a democracy? Where a civilian is harassing a military officer? Where is the respect for the military man who has put his life on the line for the Nigerian people? So it's because we have built strong men. And these strong men, I don't know what they drink, they see themselves as the Jesus Christ of Nigeria. They have this Messiah complex that they are the ones who have the solutions to the problems. How can it be that the minister of the FCC is the one who wants to go and enforce anything? Let us fix culpability where it is. As minister, you have a role to play. They are enforcement officers. What is the business of the minister going to do what he was trying to do yesterday? And look at how he made mockery of the Nigerian government. Look at how he made a mess of political leadership. See how he showed his lack of diplomacy. In fact, it was like a child who was ranting because they are taking sweets from his mouth. That was an embarrassment to Nigerian people, an embarrassment to the APC, an embarrassment to President Bola Tinubu. And if there's any sense in the governance of today, Minister Wike should not be minister by today.
But is it not a shame on the PDP, your party, that Wike has not been in any way punished?
Well, we don't even see Wike, with due respect to him, as a member of the PDP.
But he's a strong influence in your party.
Sadly so. Sadly so, because the administration of Bola Tinubu has built strong men that can dictate to people what the outcome of a court process would be. Strong men that can tell you that if I want Fubara removed as governor, if I want him impeached as governor, I would do it. Strong men that will tell you that whatever I want that will happen in Rivers State, that will happen. That is a fair society where we have built strong men, and that is why we cannot, for the life of us, allow President Tinubu to have 4 more years. Because when he's done with Nigeria, if he has 8 years, we will have very weak institutions, we will have very strong men, and we will have a defeated population who cannot express themselves, who cannot hold government to account, and will have no opposition. Because those of us who will remain in opposition, we're going to be, harassed, oppressed, intimidated, terrorized to silence. We're only able to talk now because we have not gotten to that level where we have become defeated inside of us. Because if a man is defeated inside, he's useless outside. They've not been able to defeat us inside. That's why we can still talk. And we have to continue to have that vibe, the verve, the zest, the zeal, the enthusiasm, the gusto, the yeast to speak up and speak out in a democracy. Because if we are denied that propensity to speak for the people, then democracy would have died. That is what they intend to do. That is why they are using all forms of oppression, to cajole and to force and to harass and to threaten PDP members to join the APC because they think that it's in the numbers of politicians that you have in your party. They're not taking into consideration that the Nigerian people are the ones who should decide, according to the Constitution, who leads them, who deploys their resources to their benefit. But because they have tried to defeat the mind of the people, such that they want to strangle the Nigerians, to take every kobo they have in their pockets. So that when it's time for elections, they toss 10 naira to you and it's like 10 million naira, because through the ages, through the first 4 years, they have made it impossible for you to prosper. We can't feed ourselves, we can't feed our children, we can't pay our school fees, we cannot even survive. They said that it is now difficult for the man who is alive to survive under the APC government, and this is just the beginning. What they have in stock for the Nigerian people next year is unexampled. I'm very sure that maybe when you come on TV next year, you won't be able to wear a suit because you won't be able to afford one.
Okay, maybe I should take advantage of today's economy and buy a few more suits.
As much as you can.
All right, let's begin to wrap up now. Let's talk about where we are with your party. We have seen governors leave your party, sitting governors. I mean, it's unprecedented in Nigeria's history. What do you think, given what you know as an insider, as a party man, is the unique selling proposition that the APC is advancing to these governors?
Well, I think governors leaving is not new. We've seen it before. We saw how governors, left to join the PDP, under President Obasanjo, and we've seen how it has played out, through the years. We have seen that it is not sustainable. At the end of the day, water will find its level. Yes, we're having governors for their own very selfish reasons go to join the APC. I mean, there's no sense in, if you really know that you are performing as governor, if you really know that the people's vote is what will determine, you would bank on the people. You would bank on what you're doing. But we're creating a Nigeria today where the president determines who will be governor, where the president determines whose results will be announced by INEC. That is where we are drifting to. That is why these governors who want second tenure are afraid. They're not joining because they love the APC. Of course not. Who loves the APC? They're not joining because President Tinubu is performing. Of course not. He's not performing. They're not joining because there's some kind of governance wizardry that he has propped up. There's no such thing. They're joining because they are afraid to lose elections, and they want the presidency to manipulate the process for them like he did in Edo State. The president told APC politicians, I will give you Edo State. Regardless of the votes of the Edo people, regardless of the wishes of the Edo people, he said, I will give you Edo State, and he made good his promise. He gave Monday Okerolo, someone who should have been a councillor in Udomi, he gave him the governorship ticket of the APC, and he made him governor of Edo State. And see where Edo is today. And so governors who are performing like the governor of Enugu State, one would have thought that with the level of your performance, you would bank on the people of your state to re-elect you. But he knows that INEC may be compromised. He knows that the police may be compromised. He knows that the votes may be compromised. And he needs to be on the good side of the president. Because, like I said, we have built strong men. In a democracy, the president should be afraid to make such a statement like, I will give you Edo State. You're not a voter in Edo State. You will not be in Edo State. You have no business with Edo State. It is because we have built these same strong men. And we have been quiet about it. Nobody called the president, and criticized him for what he did, apart from a few of us who said, no, you cannot tell people I will give you Edo State. Edo State is not a gift to be given to an individual or to a political party. But that is where we find ourselves, and that is why you are seeing these lily-livered governors, these, to a very large extent, weaklings, afraid of losing elections, afraid of fighting for themselves and fighting for the people, run to the APC. APC that is crumbling. I mean, I can speak for 2 hours on the APC, and because APC people call us to tell us that please, we are in distress here. This is not a home for us. We are just here for the sake of the convenience. We don't want EFCC to harass us. We don't want the police to harass us. We don't want to lose elections. That's why we're here. But we know that this is not a home. Please don't even come and join us. That is what they tell us. I have friends, in the administration, at the federal and state level. Give me these truths, give me these facts that, oh boy, it is not with the way it looks here. We are suffering here, we are dying here, but we cannot speak up because we have been threatened not to speak up. But you see, the Nigerian people will have to rise up for themselves. We will need to have more people speaking up. I'm not afraid of anything. I have not stolen. I mean, with how vocal I have been through the years. I was commissioner in Edo State. If they had anything against me, where Ogbede has stolen money, or where he has done X, Y, Z, they would have come up with it by now. But there's nothing. And that is why I will continue to speak up and to tell people that your chance to be in public office is your chance to excel. It's your chance to write your name on the sands of time. It's not the time to enrich yourself. I came from the US to come and be commissioner in the state. My economic profile, if you allow me, dropped by 100%. I left Boston Scientific, a multi-billion-dollar company in America, to come work for the Edo people. For me, it was about the Edo people, not about whatever Obaseki was paying. Whatever I was earning as commissioner for 1 month, I was making in 4 days in the US. So it wasn't about money. And so nobody can hold to say, oh, this is the money that was appropriated to him, that he mismanaged. You will never find such. And I think that our generation, we should be able to see governance like that. We should be able to see politics like that, where politics has to be about bringing the most development to the people more than self-gain. The houses our fathers built, are they living in their houses today? The cars that they bought, what has become of it today? Why should a man have 10 cars? Why should a man have 5 houses? You live in Nigeria, you have a house in London, you have a house in Texas, you have a house in Russia. It is this primitive accumulation of wealth is a demonic thing that the average Nigerian must exorcise himself from. That ghost of wanting to steal from the public, that ghost of wanting to accumulate wealth, we must exorcise ourselves from that ghost and see that politics should be about the people. It should be about development. And I say this boldly because I come from a family where we saw politics as for public good. My father was in the House of Reps. He was criticized for not accumulating wealth. But he raised us to see politics as an avenue to write your names in the sands of time. That is why today in Edo State, the best performed member of the House of Reps in the history of Edo State since 1999 is late Honorable Ifaluyi-Isibor. That's my father. That's why I can speak the way I speak. That's why I can act the way I act, because I was raised right to see politics as an avenue to amplify the gains of the people and not for self.
We'd like to say a big thank you to you, Honorable Ogbede Ifaluyi-Isibor, for coming to share with us today. We do not take your valuable insights for granted. We hope to talk to you again as we make progress.
Thank you so much, sir.
We're taking a quick break, everyone. When we return, Ramsey will engage our next guests, looking at where we are today in terms